All right, as we're getting started here, let me give you a quick reminder of the reads that I have on a couple of the players at the table here. So, Sixth Sense is a guy who I've seen around before, and I don't remember exactly what I knew about him, but I know that I have seen him around before, and he's been playing reasonably well. And the person here who was eliminated was the person I was probably most concerned about at the table. Stevie444 is one of those like tournament regulars I've been talking about. Who I know he plays a ton of tournaments and some fairly big buy-in tournaments, and he seems to be one of the better players at the table also. And then there's a few people, Mr. RT, Beaver Fever, No, and Buck21, who seem to be somewhat weaker players at the table. I wouldn't be surprised if they were satellite qualifiers. This guy, Bridge to Pain, I'd also played with before. We played a couple of $1,000 heads-up satellites together. Buck21 in particular, we'd noticed was kind of giving away some bet sizing tells and seemed to be sometimes making a full 3x raise, and other times making a smaller than 3x raise. You'll see here that I actually jammed over the top of him with ace-10 offsuit. And I realize this may not require a whole lot of explanation as to why I would do this here when on the one hand, he is raising and putting in about 1/6 of his stack, maybe even a little bit more than that. And he really shouldn't be raising all that light here. We did notice, though, that he was raising quite a bit from late position, which is one reason to jam on him. Having the ace in the hand helps because it gives us some equity if he does call with like a big pair, like kings or queens or something. Having the ace really improves our odds of drawing out on that hand, and it also makes it somewhat less likely with card removal. The fact that we have an ace in our hand makes it somewhat less likely that he's going to have something like ace king, ace queen, aces, the kind of hands that we don't want him to have. Now it's also the case, though, and this might seem like, well, he didn't make a small raise. He raised almost a full 3x. I actually think there's a pretty important distinction between raising $355 versus raising to $360, which might seem weird to say, but if those of you who are familiar with PokerStars software, the way that you raise, for most people anyway, aren't going to type in the amount 360 in the box, because what you can do is just you can click the slider twice, and it'll move it up in increments of the big blind. So you click it once, it makes it 240. You click it again, it makes it 360. So if you're going to raise to 360, you're just going to click the thing twice, and that's what people are going to do most of the time. If they choose to type in an amount, I think it's almost more significant that they're choosing to type in an amount at all than it is what amount they ultimately choose to type in. So I think from what we've seen, it seems to be the case that when he makes a 3x raise, he's been more likely to have a hand, and when he's raised some amount other than 3x, even if it's only $5 less, the fact that he's chosen to type in the bet size amount himself rather than use the slider, I think is not completely is not totally insignificant. Anyway, I jammed over him with ace-10. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on what's fairly standard play. He folds.